I'm Madison Hedges. This is my honors project for Engineering 330. What I did was a at-home plant monitoring system. So I'll be going over the concept, the hardware, the software, and then like the final outcome and my overall reflections on the project. So to start with the concept, my proposed idea was to build a box that could contain plants and care for them automatically without having to constantly check up on them, water them, that kind of stuff. And so for the parts that I used, I mainly controlled everything with an Arduino Uno board, and I used both the digital and analog pins. Additionally, I used a relay module to interact between the water pump and the Arduino, and then also the soil sensor. So if the soil sensor read a certain value, it would tell the Arduino, hey, the pump needs to turn on now, and the relay module would help take care of that. Additionally, I used a 5-volt water pump, really small one. It fits into a milk carton that I used as a recycled water tank, and then I attached a tube to that pointy end and had the water be fed into the box that way. Additionally, I used a DHT11 moisture and temperature sensor. This way I could just take a look at what was happening inside the box without having to take a bunch of measurements myself all the time. I had it print out to an LCD screen to tell me what the temperature was, and so that way I could track it, every once in a while if I was wondering how cold or warm or dry or moist it was inside the box. I used a capacitive soil moisture sensor. So actually in a previous project, kind of like this one, I used a resistive moisture sensor, but I actually learned that those aren't very good because the plating on the tips of the hardware will erode away, and not only will they sometimes mix up the resistance water level with fertilizer, they also, like, the erosion isn't that great for the plants. So instead I decided to purchase a few capacitive soil moisture sensors and try those out, and then it would read the soil values depending on capacitance instead of resistance, and then it would send all those values to the Arduino board, and I'd calculate the percentage of like how moist or dry the soil was. Additionally, I had all this read out onto an LCD screen just so I could take a look on how my plants were doing without having to plug in my Arduino to my laptop once a week and try and get those values from the Arduino itself. I would just have it read out on a LCD screen. I used a strip of LEDs in order to give the plants some form of light. Since this is a contained area, I wanted the plants to have access to some sort of light, but I learned that I could use just lights that I bought off the internet, so I bought a strip of LEDs, put those inside, that way the plants could have some light. For my software, I used Arduino IDE to code the board. Basically, I defined all of my variables, my integers, that kind of stuff. I did have to splice some code from different sources on the internet just because I've never used a capacitive soil moisture sensor before, and I wasn't sure how exactly I could read those values. So I did get some help from some internet forums and some other Arduino projects I found online, but for the most part, most of this was code that I had written my freshman year for another project, so I was able to use some of that. Basically, it tells the Arduino board to check the moisture sensor, and if it's in between like 10 to 100% moisture, it's fine. Like, the relay stays off, the pump stays off, and there's a little green LED that lets you know upon like first look that, hey, it's all watered, the plants are good. If the moisture sensor senses that, hey, there's less than 10% of moisture in the soil, then it tells the Arduino that, and then the Arduino then relays that information to the relay module itself, and then it turns on the pump so that way it can get some more water into the plant soils. While this is happening, a little blue light LED turns on to let the user know that currently the pump is running, although the pump is pretty loud, so, but anyway. Once the pump is done, it kind of like just resets or goes back to like an off state. And then it continues to check the moisture value once every few seconds. So, for the outcome of this project, I thought there were a few factors that posed some challenges. For example, the time to work on this project. Due to my other classes, I was really strained for time. In the same vein, though, I was able to finish it and was able to make something I was very proud of. Additionally, another challenge I faced was the hardware with the LCD. I took forever to get that thing to work, and for some reason, it still displays gibberish every once in a while, and I know that that's a hardware issue, so I still kind of want to work on that just to perfect it, honestly. But for the results, I actually had a lot of fun working on this project. I feel like I really got to continue something I worked on as a freshman. And then on top of that, I learned about different parts and how to read out different types of like sensors and more about what can be done with just a few electrical components. I also feel like I have a better grasp on the Arduino subsystem now, so that's pretty cool. In the future, for myself, I think that a few suggestions I could have for this project would be to make a special enclosure for the electronics and also maybe use a proto board. That way jumper wires don't come flying out. Plus, I think it would look much nicer. Additionally, I would like to improve on this project even more. I think that there are still a lot of things that I could add to make the project even better. For example, I think adding wireless monitoring would be super cool. That way I could just check how my plants are doing on my phone. I tried looking up how to do that, but with the time constraints and my own personal budget, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But maybe in the future, I think that it would be really cool to add to this project. Overall, though, I really think that not only did I learn a lot, but I also had the chance to reflect on like my own skills. And honestly, I think this is a project I can continue to work on and improve. Thank you very much for the opportunity to let me do this project, and thanks for a great semester.